Hello everyone and welcome. I'm the Retro Repair Guy. So this is episode 3. I'm a little bit disappointed because I had worked on a Carver DTL 100 CD player. It was the exact same CD player that was featured in the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off from 1986. And well, it's a bit nostalgic for me. It's something I wanted to keep in my collection. I worked hard on it. I found lots of parts that were discontinued from way out where, all kinds of places. But anyways, the point being is that I really ended up being disappointed. I think the unit is dead. Somebody's been in there, played around with it, did some modifications to it. I might make an episode in the future. I don't know, but there's a lot of work to be done. So, anyways, I took a trip to the thrift store and I actually found a CD player from 1986 from the same year, a JVC XL-V200. I paid $6 for the unit, and it's 1980s. I figured, you know what, there's not that much information online as usual. But I did find the manuals, the service manuals for the XL-V 200 series, like 220, 230, and so on, but not for the 200 specifically. And they look like decent units, and there's still some available online for about, well, a little over $100. The point being is I paid $6 for it, so I figured let's make an episode of that. What can we do with a $6 unit? Is it worth anything? Can it be fixed? And what are we getting out of it? So let's take a look.
At the time and up until 2008, JVC's parent company was Matsushita Electric, which owned the Panasonic and Technics brand. So it's no wonder to see it here in an old ad from Labelle under the Technics section. At the time, the unit was sold for $199.95, which is equivalent to approximately $475 today. Needless to say, this is a good old unit manufactured in Japan. Now, before I power up the unit, I want to open it up and inspect it for any apparent damage. At first glance, I don't see any leaked capacitors or burned components, especially around the power supply area. So let's plug it in. The unit appears to power up. When I press the eject button, I hear the motor turning but nothing is happening. I also see the laser pickup moving. This quick analysis tells me that the belts are finished. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to access them. It looks like I'm going to have to undo quite a bit. I thought this trapdoor would give me easier access to the belts, but it doesn't. In order to access the CD, you also have to remove this screw, which screws into here. To access the screw, you need to manually extend the tray using this wheel. With the tray fully extended, you need to remove one last screw located here. You can see that the belt is warped, and although it doesn't show on video, they both feel pretty soft to the touch.
So when replacing belts, there's two ways you can go about it. This is the original belt. If you have the service manual, it'll give you a number. It'll never give you the exact dimensions of the belt, but it'll give you a number. You can try to find that number somewhere on the internet, and you'll probably get lucky and order it, but it'll cost a lot more. If you have a bag that you can order, actually a bag of belts, full of belts, different sizes and shapes and whatever, for like $15, and there's like 100 belts in there. So you can try to match it up. Now, if you're going to have a turntable, don't go that route. Well, in general, okay, it's better to get the exact dimensions. But this is something that just opens and closes the CD door, the CD player door. So it's okay to not have the exact dimension, okay? It's going to be a little bit off. Now, because this is losing its elasticity, and it was just slipping, what I'm doing is I'm replacing it with a belt that's just a tiny bit smaller. I'm not sure if you can see that, but just a little bit smaller, that it's snug, and you can turn it with your finger. I mean, you don't want to make it too hard because the little motor won't be able to turn it, but just snug so that it turns, and try it with your finger. Like I said, all it's doing here is opening and closing a door, and I'm sure it's going to be as good and it'll last as long as the original one. That's all I want to tell you about belts.
Before installing the new belt, it's important to clean the pulleys to remove dirt and any debris that the old belt may have left behind. I'm using 99% alcohol, but you can use 70% rubbing alcohol. I want to make sure that it's dry before installing the new belts, so I'm speeding up the drying process. With the new belts, you can see that the pulleys are turning well and that the belt is snug. I'm simply repeating the process for the other belt. With the drawer fully extended, the gears can be disassembled safely without taking note of any special position. With the belts now replaced, before I do any more work on the unit, I'm testing it to see if the tray now opens and if the CD is spinning. Everything seems to be working, so I'm going forward with the rest. The capacitors on the optical board were bothering me. I had never heard of them and just looked very old, so I went ahead and changed them all. It turns out that they are made in Japan by Toshin Kogyo, who mainly make capacitors for manufacturers like Panasonic, which, as mentioned earlier, was owned by the same parent company, Matsushita Electric. After testing them, I saw that a couple really needed to be replaced, while a few were still within acceptable range. There were only 5 small caps that were easily accessible, so I was happy I changed them anyway. I then replaced a few capacitors in the power supply area only.
With the belts replaced, you see that the unit is already working, okay? This is not a unit that I want to keep. Well, I might end up keeping it, but this is not a unit that's sentimental to me in any way, all right? So I'm not going to recap the whole unit and waste my time here and repaint because there's a few scratches on top. The last unit I repaired in my last episode was my uncle's and something that's sentimental to me, so I really want to keep it, so I went all out. I recapped the whole unit and I cleaned it all up and took it apart. This one I took out the faceplate, I cleaned it, I took out the cover, I cleaned it. I recapped only the power supply because the power supply, I mean, you're there and the power supply is the heart of it, right? So you want to recap maybe just the power supply if you intend on keeping the unit, but I'm not going to recap the whole thing. And again, the cost is so minimal anyways. I mean, I have them here. Yes, I have the parts, so I have an advantage, but I order them in bulk. But even when you don't order them in bulk, you're talking about, you know, again, 70 cents to $1 for a capacitor. Even if you were to pay $1, I changed the, you know, maybe no more than 10. So, and I'm not paying that much. So you're talking about a $10 repair that's going to last a long time. So the belts are changed. You spent $10 on capacitor, you did the work, and the unit's good for a long time. Why not, right? We paid $6 for the unit. Even as a resale value, you can resell it for about $100 online. You're into your money.
And it's time to reassemble the unit.
Well, that concludes episode 3, and wow, I'm impressed. A $6 unit, changed $5-6 of capacitors and 2 belts. So definitely well worth the money because it's something you can resell for $100 or more. especially in its shape if it's cleaned up and everything, because they're asking for $100 as is. Nice little unit, but I don't intend on keeping it. I don't intend on doing any more work on it. It's not something I'm going to keep in my collection. Definitely not. I mean, it's nice, but not what I want. So I'll probably be giving it away. And I just wanted to say thank you again for watching, everybody. And let's listen to what it sounds like.
Time that I should pop